Canada has a new prime minister, same as the old prime minister. Now, of course, the major takeaway from Canada's election is that it was all about Trump. Trump, 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 and then Trump once again. Because, as we know, Trump is the vassal emperor of the world. All other things are his subject. And therefore, the Canadian election was all about Trump. Canada's federal election was the first major test of Donald Trump's influence on the affairs of a longtime U.S. ally since he returned to power 100 days ago, and he lost it badly. So, how does this election affect Canada? How does it affect the world? Who cares? It's all about Trump. He lost it badly. He lost it for sure. Because I guess the person that's kind of Trumpy, Pierre Poilievre, did not win. Now, how does that affect Trump and Trump's foreign policy, domestic policy? I don't know, but he lost. The US president's attacks on Canadian sovereignty outraged voters, while the trade war he launched threatened to upend the economy of a nation dependent on US trade. Okay, this right here is an important point that we need to hammer in. The nation dependent on US trade. The world is perhaps unfair, and you might not like it. And certainly, if I had another accent, if I was Romanian or British or Polish or something like that, you could take this as an actual observation of the world, as opposed to seeing it as a nationalistic American beating his chest and saying, America is the hegemon of the world, and all of these other states and all these other actors and all these other nations, they are inherently vassals to the US. And therefore, look, you can have your government, you can do your own stuff, as long as it doesn't affect the US government policy. Because if it does, then we've got something to say, and you'll right yourself very quickly. Otherwise, you will come to know what it is to be a vassal state that its emperor disapproves of. That is unfortunately, or fortunately, the way the world is currently. America is the number one superpower, and in terms of that, I'm glad. Because the only other alternative would be China. And I don't think that's a good move for anybody. The world takes its cues from the US. And the US, as the hegemon, basically does influence the rest of the world. And Canada, while not the 51st state, is in the fact that it is dependent on US trade. Guess what? You are the junior partner here. I know you don't like that. I understand that. But I would also advise you to get over it. Okay? You go to a job, you have a boss, right? You answer to that boss. You are dependent on that boss for your job. Does that weigh you down all day, every day? Do you make decisions for your own well being purely out of the spite or the fact that you are dependent on someone else for your livelihood? No. If anything, you go, you know what? I don't like doing it, but I'll be nice to my boss. He's kind of a dick, but whatever. I know I need the job, so I'm gonna not be unkind to him. If the way you voted was a repudiation of Trump, I imagine, and this is backed up by the data, you don't have much to live for. You've basically already got yourself set up. You're not worried about the future because you're going to be dead soon, because you're old, because you're a boomer, because you've already bought a house. You live in a nice neighborhood, you're retired, you're living off the government dole, you're good, you're done. Everybody else that is worried about the way the future is and therefore has a much more vested interest in their own well being did not vote for the Liberal. They voted Conservative. They voted, please, get Pierre Poilievre. Please, something different. Please, because we are suffering. Seriously, sincerely, please help us. But the boomers won, and for whatever amount of time remains for this liberal government, things are going to be bad for Canadians. I hope they're good. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're good. But I don't think that's going to be the case. That reversed the fortunes of the Liberals, who had been expected to be shown the door by an electorate weary of their decade in power, but instead cast themselves as fighting for Canada's very existence. Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, who shares some similarities with Trump style-wise, appeared months ago to be a shoo-in to become Canada's next Prime Minister. Now he is out of his own seat in Parliament. Now that is not good, but I'm actually believing that Mark Carney does not have a seat in Parliament. He did not win a seat in Parliament. I am not 100% sure about that, but I have heard rumblings of that. I'm not following Canadian politics as a matter of course, so I don't know. Elections Canada said 68.5% of eligible voters cast a ballot, the highest turnout since 1993. The Liberal victory on Monday energized other American allies under pressure from Trump and newly empowered Prime Minister Mark Carney, who emerges with a new mandate to take a tough line against the U.S. in trade negotiations and other foreign policy. Now, I will say, the mandate here, it's very interesting that they will use the term mandate for Carney's victory, but Trump does not have a mandate, even though Trump got the House, the Senate, overwhelming majority in the federal election for president. Carney did not actually, the Liberals did not actually get a majority in the parliament. It was close, but they didn't get a majority. French President Emmanuel Macron, who has his own complex relationship with Trump and is dealing with tariffs imposed on France, congratulated Carney on X and referenced the elbows up slogan the Canadians have adopted in resistance to Trump. You embody a strong Canada in the face of today's challenges, he wrote. France is glad to further strengthen the relationship which unites our two countries. I'm looking forward to working with you, elbow to elbow. Was this entire election about Trump? To a degree, yes, I would agree with that. Should it have been? Or should it have been about, hey, we don't really want radical environmentalism dictating our economic policy that is destroying us economically and personally, individually. We're dying here. We can't afford food, which is what most of the young people were said when they were polled. What is your major concern here? Affordability, cost of living. I can't buy food. I can't pay rent. I don't have a house to live in. I'm suffering. I'm not going to make it. Okay, I'm guessing those people are probably going to vote against the establishment. They're going to vote for something new. If that's the case, then I would imagine the main thing that is on their mind would be, we should probably try something different. But I'm not sure. Let me know. If you live in Canada, let me know. And I'm channeling not V, Romanian TV, lack of entertainment here, when I say, if you're from Canada, please do not support this channel monetarily. You're going to need all your money. Thank you for your time and attention. Good luck in all your endeavors. I shall say farewell for now.